I'm,
Right.
are you ready? I'm admitting folks now. We have a handful of people coming in. Uh, Hi, I'm Carolina Wheat, curator at Artfare. We're here for our Thursday series, and tonight we have Furong Zhang, whom is here with us, and he's coming all the way from State College through the Zooms. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you certainly for being on the app and agreeing to do this with me. We've done, I think, over 30 now. I keep losing counts since we've been doing it since March. And I came across your work as I was discovering new artists on the Artfare app and was mesmerized by the kind of surrealistic hyper realism. I don't know. I feel like I'm in a dream in your work.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm really happy to be here and to get a chance and to talk a little about my works. And I think, and also I get feedback. So, and how to the people look at my works.
Well, that would be really wonderful. Yeah, at the end of the conversation, and certainly anyone that wants to chat during the conversation with comments, questions, will certainly attend to those. It would be really wonderful to get a little bit of audience participation. Certainly, I have a lot of questions for you. Yet I see that are you in your studio right now?
Yeah, I'm in my studio and actually in my house, and I use the studio during the winter, and but in the summer, I'm more like working a little more space. I will moving my work to my garage. I use it as my studio too. So
Oh, so you have a lot of space then. You've got inside studio, garage studio. You must not be in New York City, huh?
yeah, I'm missing. Uh,
Are you, where are you right now?
I'm in the middle of the Pennsylvania and the
Ah,
city called the State College. Actually, it's a college town. Yeah, it's not that far away from the New York City. Yeah.
no, yeah,
So
I've driven to State College a few times from New York City, and on a good day, it's only 4 hours.
yeah, 4 and 5 hours, and depends which area.
Yeah, it depends. I know it's a handful of faculty actually. I know Rudy Shepard and Brian Alfred at Penn State University. They drive back and forth between the city and their courses and their meetings. Still living in the city but teaching at Penn State University. So I find that that's a big commute.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you definitely could. You could
But
drive
you,
like the same day you come back.
I know. Oh, it's the same day. I can't even imagine. But you've been living there for a while, making your work, huh?
Yeah, I'm living here around. Yeah, it's a pretty long, around like 10 years, and we love it
Oh,
here. Yeah, it's a pretty place for the relaxing, and also you can more concentrate and do your work. And also it's easier when you have things happen. You easier to go to the New York and doing the things, and it's pretty easy for me.
yeah. Well, that's good. And you also have like space.
Mhm.
And you said you had a daughter, so she's
Yeah,
able to hang around in the backyard and things.
yeah,
Well, it's certainly a good time for you to be out of the city, maybe, and be able to have that quiet space in the mountains. Your work does have, a lot of landscape, varying landscapes and interiors, and I mentioned that they're kind of like this hyper realist surrealism. They feel very dreamlike
mhm,
when you look at them because they are representational, yet the things that are being placed beside each other, I'm curious about a lot of the meaning, and I know that memory uh prior and during the Cultural Revolution, China plays a big part in your work.
That's a big thing when I during the when I grew up. That's really influenced all the people's life, including me at that time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And were you growing up in Shanghai?
Yeah, I'm born in Shanghai and grew up there. Yeah, it's and I live in China about 10. It's about 30 years before I moved into America. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a lot of things happened during the time I live in.
Absolutely. I mean, so much seems to happen on a decade to decade basis,
Yeah,
and culturally, besides just the Maoist regime and such, and Tiananmen squares, and so much just happens. It feels like every decade. Yet the time you spent in China, it looks like you were very accomplished, showing in museums and having a lot of visibility in certainly also in Beijing. You went to Kafa.
yeah.
I've been there. I
Oh, really?
love that school.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good school there. Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
great school.
Yeah, that time I almost like I get my master's degree that time, and I spent almost like 3 years at there. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that changed a lot when I come back. Old school, all gone. So the new school, new college looks beautiful.
The school itself, Kafa, the Chinese Academy of Fine Arts, right? Kafa in Beijing. We're like outside of Beijing, so Beijing, I guess, but it's kind of a drive. It's like in the 5th, 16th ring. I can't remember, but it's like really out there.
Good. That's big. But that time when I've been there, it's near the Thames Square. It's a small school. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
no,
only
really?
like including teacher, only like 200 people. You know,
Hmm.
because when I go there, it's just after Cultural Revolution. I think it's the second year they accept like a master's degree. And that time the department is called we are the fine oil painting department, and only 5 people accept the foundation. It's a really hard competition. That I'm so
Oh,
lucky to get it.
yeah. It was very difficult to get in there during that time, but yet are you saying that it's not so difficult to get in now?
Yeah, it is difficult. Yeah,
It's still difficult.
but now it's I think still
It's an outstanding school, and as educational institutions in both first tier and second tier cities that I've had the fortune to visit in China, and even a couple third tier cities, Kafa really stands out as a school that cares very much about a lucrative practice, in order to make money and things, but it's also more open-minded, I've found, through allowing the students the freedom to create and really question why they're creating, and potentially explore concepts that are maybe not always in more of the public schools where students also have to test to get into. It's a real, truly open fine art school.
yeah. Yeah, they change a lot. They change a lot today. Yeah, so I see the how they change, and one of my classmates, like the charge of the department, they're
Oh,
going doing one department. It's a totally adapted Western system, education
that's right.
system, including the admission process. And before you have to test the drawing and skill, and this one they're just like you know test what your concept is. So they
Mhm.
find a new way to make it the whole thing to change. Then the whole thing, I think that right now, it's a big change than before.
Mhm. Mhm. I I really value that. Of course, there still is a push for fashion design and, interior design, graphic design, commercial design fields. Yet when you find those pockets of those students doing sculpture and other oil paintings like yourself, And you're creating, most of your works are in oil, is that correct?
Yeah, that's most of it. I think that because I'm familiar with that material. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. So I use.
Long time. And I know, Furong, you were going to show us a little bit of your inspirations and the content within the work that you're creating based in the history. You said you had a little presentation. Did you want to start that right now?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to start my slideshow, and I'm going to share my screen. So so that picture start up. So little weird. Um, I talk a little about first. I talk a little about my history, and also some little about myself. I was born in Shanghai also, and deal with when during my grew up, that's a big events happen, and it is big things for me at that time, because at that time I was young and I don't know what happened. I just like suddenly totally changed, and things go upside down. And the teacher, you step aside, you don't have school, you cannot read any books, and no music, and no movie, and just everything you can see is propaganda. So so at that time, and also it's some violence happen anywhere. It's a pretty scale time, and for that time. It's about runs about 10 years, around 10 years. So after a few years, after several years, I think after 7 years, and that time I graduated from the high school. Now I was um, I was let me go back. Now I was be sent by government to the countryside, and at that time, because all the colleges is closing, and so we have no choice because the government force you, so you have to go. So, but that's it. It's a good reason because you want, and that's good for young guys. You get a re-education from the labor work. But when you really live in that time, you feel it's different. You feel like hopeless because you don't know how long you going to be stay there, because you have to do really hard work, labor work there, and sometimes during the winter, sometimes you probably don't have enough food, and also so people don't know and what's the future about you. So then until to the 1976, the Cultural Revolution finally finished because the leader Mao, the Mao is died, and he was died. So so everything changed. The new leader come out. They want to change everything, and especially they want to open the door to the rest of the world, and also they change the higher education system. So the college recovered. So we get a chance and go to the college. I'm lucky. I'm get a bachelor degree. Also, I get a master's degree during that after that. So and it is a special time and in my mind. So I cannot wash out. And after that, so and during the time when I in the college, also after the college, I'm teaching in the college several years before I come here. So I'm going to talk about talk a little about the art world at that time in China. So at that time, I think the education system is basically adapted from the Russia. It's called social realism. So that's only the style be allowed in the college, and also in the official place when you show. So that want your art service for the government. So no individual creativity be allowed. So you cannot make your own voice, and at that time. So after a few years later, I think less than 10 years, and when the door and keep open, and the more information coming in from the rest of the world, especially from the American. And they have a couple of shows, for example, like a Robert Rauschenberg show. And we are the first time to see the contemporary art and to show in the Beijing. So we feel more exciting. And at that time, I think during the 1980s, there's a lot of underground new art movement come out. But the only problem is you cannot allow it to show in the official place, like museums. That time probably don't have like a commercial art gallery, only the museums or some place to show. So there don't a lot of underground contemporary art to show that place. So after a few years, so things are getting more better. So that time I'm in the Beijing, that's the center, art center of the China. So we have a lot of young students, the art teacher, and also curator. They want to do something, and they're going. We're going to, and we have a chance to have a meeting to discuss and organize. And I think maybe we can have a avant-garde show to hold at the Chinese National Art Museum. And that time people feel it's hard. So, and we negotiated with the government, and they let us do. So in the, I think that in the 1989, in the spring, the show is finally is open. It's a big event and in China and art history, because that's the first time the contemporary art could be shown in the Chinese official, the art museum. And there's a different style, like performance art, like installations, and also the video art, and so on, have and conceptual art, and all different kind of stuff that came, that show, including that show. So, yeah. And that I have to, yeah.
Oh, pardon. I just want to clarify the ability for folks to show contemporary now artwork outside of government approval and just, you know, the approved museum shows. You were instrumental in having played a part in presenting work at this level, correct? What year was that?
It's that time, it's 1989. 1989. Yeah, it's February. Yeah, that's around 200. It's 180, like 180 people from the all places of the nation, and also around 300 artwork to show that. So today, and their own history, that say their identity, that show as the start point of Chinese contemporary art. So they have made a big change.
Well, Furong, when did 786 become that, like 640 square meter outdoor contemporary art space in Beijing? What do you know what year that was erected or founded? Was that around the same time?
Oh, you mean the people hang on the work in the outside? You mean? That's later. That's
later. Okay.
That time, and that because of the reason, because at that time our school is in the near the Tiananmen Square. After that, they moving the school to the 798, the place. So that's like a new artists coming in and started to doing the new things. Yeah, and when I stayed there, that's nothing happened yet. Yeah, that time is that place is nothing, just a factory. So so it's a big, it is a big change for Chinese art world. And you see the left side of the picture have No U-turn side, that's the logo for that show. And the people with hope don't want to go back. Yeah. And the right picture, it's my work. It's an installation. I did this with my friends and I cooperate with another artist. So, and also I was, and that painting was in that show too. So that's my old painting when I did it in the Beijing before I come to America. So
yeah, I was saying earlier, it's got such like a Fauvist, a little bit of cubism. You know, it's got a very, dare I say, I don't know, derivative kind of feeling. Like it doesn't really look like your work right now, but I can see your experimentation kind of growing in terms of atmospheric, you know, landscape.
yeah, it is big difference. And that time, I think I influenced from the master of the past, like a French artist, some like Henri Rousseau or some other artists. And also I combine with the Chinese folk art. The time, because I collect a lot of Chinese folk art, like hundreds, like a pepper card, a paintings. I go around a lot of places, like countryside. I collect this. So give me the idea. So I want to develop my, get a feeling from my own, not from the government at that time. So yeah, I did this. And also some building in the backside is from my hometown and my memory of the hometown, my grandma's place. So I did, yeah, that's a lot of change. So after the show, a few months later, so I went to the Skowhegan restaurant. So I moved in to the America. So I stay in New York. I live in New York about a long time, 10 more years, almost 18 years. After that, I'm moving to the Pennsylvania. So
But you came directly from, were you living in Beijing at the time or Shanghai? You basically came from China to go to Skowhegan.
yeah, I live in Beijing for a few years. After that, I go back to Shanghai and keep teaching in the college. Yeah, before I come to here. So yeah.
And then you never went back after Skowhegan? You just like, I gotta stay in the States.
No, I just like finish the summer program, just like 3 months around.
Right.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place there. Yeah, and
Yeah.
also first couple of years for me, it's a big like a culture shock because total unfamiliar the world for me, because that time China is totally different than what when I see in the New York. So everything is different. So and it's a couple of years. It's a little bit for me. It's a big challenge. So, but I like New York since I stay longer, of course, and I meet a lot of friends, you know, and I really like it there. And so it's a big change. So and I'm going to talk a little about what I did recently, like a group painting. Before the pandemic, that is a new painting for me. That's some big change than I did before. So I'm interested in, I'm really interested to explore the identity as a Chinese American. So, and how it contains, it's about a conflict and also about a contradiction. And also relate to the deconstruction of my memory of the past. So, for example, like the color I'm using, and for me, they have a conflict meaning. So one is like a celebration or happiness. The another side is like propaganda, like it comes from the Cultural Revolution. Everywhere is red color. So for me, little violence. So I like to play the concept, whatever you can see the both. Also, some image I'm using here coming from the traditional of the Chinese, like a festival, like the people they through the water, and it means you clean up something, and also symbolize you revolt. And that's what I'm trying to doing that. The blue painting, I'm started interested in the boat imagery to symbolize the personal journey in between it. So I feel interested because that personal journey, it's not only physical, and also it's in your psychological, your mind. So that's why I'm going to explore that feeling.
I was wondering what the boats were meaning. I appreciate also that you're referencing the red in the previous paintings. I've noticed a lot of the warm tones within the work, and also the boat both being, you know, intact, but also the boats being completely broken in a lot of images as well. And so I'm happy to hear some of your thoughts behind those, meaning behind those. And do you, you know, your figurative work feels so photorealistic. Are you referencing, you know, directly from life, or are you using photographs, or are those are painted on? Those aren't collaged figures, correct?
Yeah, and I'm trying first. I'm trying to break in the space. So when I design my work, the image here I'm using sometimes I first draw some sketch and to put the place. Now I maybe find some people take the picture for me. I'm using the reference, yeah, because I want to give more detail. So and from my personal experience, so but I changed it. So even I have like sometimes working from the photo, but not directly using. Uh, and so I want everything working for my painting. So I've got to follow that. So and also when I doing my own painting, it's just like building the house. You have to have certain structure there. So I want to follow that. So
I totally get it and understand it. I love it. I love it. You're like, hey, it's from a photo, but you know, I need the photo. It's okay to photo reference, right? Sometimes I know that we've been pounded in our heads to, you know, work from observation. So I appreciate your, you know, minor defense to that situation, but they really are, the composition is working so well. And the way that the figures are interacting with the work, I just thought that they may have been collaged, not actually, you know, painted. They have photorealistic properties to them. But thank you for sharing that.
Actually, that's the space concept from the traditional Chinese like the painting. So because the Western basically before all the traditional is like a perspective, but in the East at that time, they're broken. They have a different perspective, have different horizon line. You don't have to follow one. So that's give me the idea. So when I'm doing this, I want to give me the freedom. Even I use the photo as a reference, I gotta change it. So I'm not follow the detail. That's a two-way. One is you just like totally follow. And one is you can use some part of that and for your opinion when you need it. So that's right.
Yes. It's inspiration.
Inspiration. That's right. Yeah. And so that's the painting I did. And from the idea, I think about the home. That's basically the experience when I live in New York for many years, and I first time I come back to China, I go to my hometown. So I see a lot of things like the building be cracked down, breakdown, and you see a lot of construction vehicle, construction signs around you. So you don't see old things, they're all gone. You feel like your memory follow your old house and they're gone. So I just feel they still have some signs there, just like a Broadway. You see the Broadway, but it's not Broadway, that's just something else. So it's really complicated for me that time when I see that happen. So of course, sometimes, so that is why I want to question what is home means for me, and what's the idea about home. That's the work I do for. So I did like around 3 painting and follow the idea. That's the first one. Then I have this one too. So I use the construction, and since on the top part I have like a folk art, the small detail I just corrected. So feel like something you gone, and followed by the building. And that one also the same group painting I did about the concept about the home, except I break some the head of the people, and looks like a piece of the architecture. That also have the feeling when you meet the old friend. You see the same name and same people, but the things is big change when I first meet them. That's it. The talk things, the think things is totally different. The same way they think of me. They say, wow, Furong, you changed a lot. You're not the old one. Because we live in, here for many years. Of course, it's different. So that's the things I try to catch the moment. And yeah.
Well, I was going to say, in all three of those works about the home, when you were referencing something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, but landmarks of things that you could remember prior to construction. I kind of, if you go back two more from like this one, then the one before that, like I could see these clay-ish lower left-hand corner, like the homes that have more of like a feeling that they were built into the rocks, or maybe this watering hole, just the combinations between the organic elements and the lines that kind of boxing around the idea of home. I think when you're explaining, it definitely helps clear up the point of that moment where you can see time has happened, right? From the original artifact or the landmark, when you come back to home, to the building of lines, and certainly how obvious the construction machines are. So I think that you're combining all of these things in a way that gives the feeling that you're asking about of what is home, and how things change. Really nice. And so this was a series you've done just recently.
Yeah, but this I did 1 more years ago.
1 year. Oh, and how large are these, Furong?
It's about 42 by 46. Pretty not too big. It's kind of like a small or in the middle scale. Yeah, and that's I using this image basically from the drawing I made, like a home, like a red line. It's I make a symbolize like an old house. So everything you got, just leave like a few things and recognize. And
like
also,
a trace of a memory.
Yeah, I make water because I make it looks like an island looking. So the reason is I feel like every hometown for each person, that's its limit. It's not related about something else. It's about yourself. You only, maybe for individually, you only have a small space you're living around. So I make like an island looking. So it's like a symbolize what is home, what's the space limited space for the individual. That's what I want to use that concept to do it. So so yeah, that's also the construction science I see. So I took the picture. So I grouped it. Yeah. So okay, that's the only painting I played, and I get an inspired idea about original thing. So they have two words and with like a Chinese word, and that's called the original thing, and they have a different writing way. And I use the snake here to represent. So what is idea come from? But in this painting, but I not only explain the original idea, I want to explore a different way, especially in China that time. They have a policy that called the pedigree. So that means when your father have a problem, your son will be punished, something like that. So I want to play like a dual meaning. So so that's just I want doing that one. So that's what it's about. So now I'm going to show that painting. That's the painting I did during the pandemic, and from this year I did a group a new painting, and also I using that painting dialogue with myself, dialogue with the dream I had. So like memories, like the idea I talked about before. So I want to follow that, and also I want to give different way to doing the work. So when I first, and also when I doing this, and I think I made this looks like a stage, like a stage. So I first designed some building. Now I put the figure in. So like you see the play. So people go to some place you never know, like you are on the trip. So and that's the one I did.
Furong, you mentioned your dreams. Do you have very vivid dreams?
That dream only is symbolized, just like a memory. Yeah, I'm not dream that much, but I do pick up the things from the memory, basically. Yeah. So and
Well, the surreality in the works, I mean, they feel very dreamlike. So it's as if you're sleeping. When you're awake, you're daydreaming these compositions through your memories, right? I believe, at least for me as a viewer, they help me enter a world of uh, mystery and curiosity. I mean, yes, I think that listening to you talk about some of the symbols, say for instance in this, I see some photographs, and the tiles on the floor kind of splitting, some bowls, some tins of oils, and um, you know thorns on the head of the ghost man. Like, you know it seems as if you have very deep meanings for a lot of these reasons, but can you maybe talk a little bit about, you mentioned the boat, say this figure in the foreground, it feels like this is the main character maybe. What would you say to how this represents within this painting, this figure?
yeah, and here all the image are using, and it's followed by the feeling what at that time I have. So I want to make like the idea talk about like a personal journey. So because like me, so I talk about the identity before. So for me, I have two parts in mind because I live in the both country almost same time. So sometimes, of course, right now I'm living here more long time, and all the memory all gone since the time going on. So they're missing together. Not like really like things you can separate from this part to this part. So the both image are using here just like a medium to to let you go from the one place to another place. And also they have some image are using just direct from the memory, like the photos, family photos, like cars, some image. So, and follow the feeling at that time. It's like an intuition process. So sometimes you have to you have the idea, but also same time, you have to give you a little freedom to conform the painting. So that's I'm going. That's the time when I'm doing that, the work.
Got it. I was just really trying to poke you on the thorns on the ghost man. Like, is this great burden if this ghost man is entering this, transition? Like,
And also, I like to
savior.
hear what you talk, because I want my work not give one direction meaning, because I want the audience have different meaning. So, but so I don't want to limit that. So,
Sure.
and that's I really like to hear the people when they look at my work, give me the feedback. So give me another direction look at that. So that's really interesting for me. So and so also I'm going to continue. Okay, yeah. That's a painting also I did this year. I directed give. I'm trying to give the title called Escaping. So the reason I want to show some people and go the backsides of the people, they are walking from the one place and to another place. And I want to get a feeling refreshing the situation we are facing right now. But for me, not only physical, like a real physical place, and also I want to catch the psychological feeling about the escaping. So sometimes, like in the dream, sometimes you run around, you cannot get out. You still cannot get out, even you try. Yeah, that's that time I want to do. And also I have some upside down building. I give like this word, make this word not looks like a real word. So more in your mind, more psychological. Yeah, that's the way. So
Yeah, I mean, you were saying earlier that your process involves sketching
yeah.
first, taking from photographs, sketching out your composition, yet it has, and pardon me for mentioning this again, yet your sketches and the way that you're assembling this representational elements is very collage like, even though there is nothing adhered to the canvas, correct? You're not gluing anything on the canvas. It just feels as if, it's almost some of these figures are stuck on, or some of these objects are stuck
No,
on.
I don't use actually look like a collage, but I don't use collage as a method to do my work. But I
Great.
do block the space. I want to. That's how I talked before. I want to get
Yeah,
freedom. Yeah,
of
when
course.
doing things, and I can put a different direction and breaking the space. That's how I do. But I don't use. I'm not using the collage as a way to compose my painting. Everything just painting out, and yeah, that's the thing. That's the way I do it. And that's the painting also I did that when I use a broken boat as a metaphor about it's something about our society. So and the figure I'm using here have a different dimension, some like a 2 dimension, some like a two dimension and a 3 dimension, some are just a 3 dimension, and try to show the identity and how the people performance. So yeah, that's like the idea when I'm doing this. I'm trying to think about, and and that one is one painting. It's a little different. I drawing a fisherman. So and when I joined that thing, when I joined the boat, and I think that's why I joined this because I also have that's basically my experience when I go to the countryside in the farm. It's near the ocean, and that time I see a lot of fishermen, and I say okay, so I want to doing that, and I doing this one just like give think about the idea about the balance. When you catch something, you will lose something. So like the fishing, you get something, maybe something you lose. So I want to play this idea. So when I do that, and also that painting I did, um, um, so I get idea from the from the when I do the boat. That normally the boat should be floating in the water. Now I put the water inside the boat, and I want to give that do that work, and I want to refresh in the situation we are right now. We cannot go outside. We have to put everything inside the space, and through the internet, through the virtual worlds, and whatever. So I want to do in that idea. So that's refreshing that, and that painting also I did using the picture to cover the person to think about the identity. What do you want to show the people? What's the identity means for you? And almost the same idea I followed before.
Furong, when you're painting, what is your favorite type of brush? And are you using any airbrush?
No, I don't use.
No?
Basically I'm using traditional brush, like a different kind of from the little softer nylon or bristles, and sometimes you need a special technique, and you also use hands, and I don't have rope, but I get used to like a traditional tool, and also really enjoy the oil painting because I think you can do the really freedom, and also you can catch really detail, and and also I doing the several paintings same time, so I don't have to worry about they are not dry, so I can work in that one today, and the same time the next day I work in another one, so so that's the one. I have another. That's a couple painting I did a little earlier, not this year. And just like a couple things and show how memory rose from my mind. So I did this one too. It's all about the memory, about the older time. So and yeah, and that's the painting also I did a year ago, 1 year, 1.5 years ago. And the first time I'm using the opera face, opera mask to cover the people and give me a different feeling. So I look back at old painting. I say, well, that's the idea interests me. So I'm going to think about the new painting I'm going to do. So I want to do in the new painting, maybe a little more different than I'm doing right now. So I'm going to I'm going to sketch and rethink, and I want to create something different. So, and I don't want to copy myself. So I want to challenge myself. That's the idea. I'm going to try to catch. Especially interests me is about a mask. When the people, because as some also say, the people always I always wear the mask when you go outside. So, and what is the real you and how you performance, especially for me as a Chinese American, like identity. What is that means for me? What are I going to performance? So I'm going to concentrate in the future project about that idea. That's how I put this painting here. Yeah.
I like those sentiments. There's so much behind that sentiment of the mask and inside outside, who we are outside inside now. Certainly that is a concept that many artists have explored throughout the times, I believe. But one of the things I wanted to acknowledge in your work is each painting has a very distinct palette, a very sophisticated and steady palette, and the way that you're moving um, the brush and the paints around. Also, again, kind of talking about this build up with the layers. I think one of the reasons why the painting may feel like these collagey moments, and pardon me for going back there, but I just these kind of halo like um areas outside the some of the representational elements, and the halos give it this more prominent status within the setting of the painting. And I guess I just wanted to acknowledge that, and the reinterpretation of this formula of your setting, and then the surreal world combining with the figures and these representational elements. I really appreciate that you do have a formula, and I look forward to seeing a break possibly away from what you were saying, switching it up and not copying yourself too often. Where, and you said this painting is pretty recent, like where do you think you're going to be going soon in this idea of reinvention?
Yeah, and I'm going to start right now. Yeah, that's why it's just like I look back and I always look back. I'm just already started to think and prepare the idea, and also have to read some books to help me to clean up my ideas, and so we so I'm going to change it maybe from the whole structure of my paintings. But before, maybe have small figures like with the background. Maybe in the future, I'm going to change the scale. Maybe some parts make it more bigger, some parts not important, I make it smaller. Or the color wise, and also I'm going to make some try some different color and probably never using before. Yeah, and so yeah, so and also that's the small painting, and I did also that from the last year and the year before, and I did a group painting, used the bird as the subject, and also dialogue with the nature, with the human being. So and show the feeling about like a different feeling. I'm sure different feeling, and that's a few pieces. So that's the one. That's the two pictures. It's a total different. So I just showed a couple pictures. That's what I'm painting, and I do have a show in the 2019 in the Brooklyn in the October. So I'm first time to try to use the background. I designed the background and the painting and with the 3Ds and to hang on with my painting. So I feel exciting, and I feel I like it that way. So because the painting and the background could be like an interaction, and that's the new try. So so that's the
This is a great experiment. It's a successful experiment per se. It's the background fits so well with the concept of the work, and the fact that is it at an art fair, or is it, where is this place? You said it was in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's in the Brooklyn. It's I think that's the fair. It's the satellite art fair. That's the first year they hold.
Yeah, it's got a really nice interactive feel. I mean, no one's going to go up and touch the paintings per se, but the way the bricks and the boulders are on the ground, and the the walls that are painted, did you go in and paint those in one night and then hang your paintings, or is that like a wallpaper that you got printed?
That's a painting on the wood. So
Cool.
I carry this to the show. Yeah, before painting, I prepare all the things. I don't
Yeah.
think because that's a pretty big space, and I don't think at that time that don't have enough time for us to doing that things on the side. So yeah, I only set up use structure and the lines and installation like this. So
And what is going on from what is going on in the left corner of this booth? It looks almost like a video game slash panorama.
that one that's a sculpture painting.
Sculpture.
Yeah, 3D and 2D. And also that painting has see the two sides. And one side have one image, and one other side have another painting with it. So
Oh, wow.
I want to put the painting show a different way. That's the way it's more 3D. But that time the space still a little too small. So if big enough, I can put it in the more in the center, so the audience can go around, so they can get and from the front the painting and the backside painting. So that's like a totally combined together. So the what be more that would be more interesting. So that's why I give a try. So so
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
that's a nice reinvention of your style. I think, it changes your formula.
Yeah, that's the first time I tried that way. So I think uh, it's pretty interesting when you sometimes you're doing something after your own box, and sometimes give me a little more exciting. So so that's what I want to do in the future, and I want to always challenge. So
Definitely never stop learning, huh? And that's really fantastic. And so I think this is your last slide.
yeah, yeah, that's the last in the picture.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Can you, yeah, take,
So
Rupakote says, love this Furong in the chat. And if anyone has any questions, I've been chatting away at Furong this whole time, and we've got about 5 minutes left. If anyone would like to ask a question, please use the chat. Or, yeah, Marsha, please.
Did you, one of the paintings looked like something Marc Chagall did. It's your painting, I know, but were you inspired by Marc Chagall?
I love the Chicago work, and when I was in the college, and I do love his work. It's more
Yeah,
imagination, especially he is the first people doing the things. I think at that time it's breaking the space they can flying on the buildings, really fantastic. But
yeah.
when I'm doing
Like
this work,
the dream you never get out of. The dream
yeah,
that you never get out of,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, but for me, probably only is I think it's I like his work. It's give me some idea when I was young, but now I think maybe I think about more about psychological things. It's more thinking. Maybe it's more logical in my mind. So
Yeah,
and maybe come up the things looks similar. Maybe the idea maybe is different. That's all.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Marsha. I have another question from a gallery called Office Space.
Mhm.
Welcome. Hi. And thank you so much for joining, everyone. This question is superb and nice reference. Any influence from Neo Rauch and the Leipzig school?
Um, yeah, I think I know I like his work, and I think and um, he's really his work is really strong, and I think we have the same background. That's why I think he have the history too. You can see his work. because the Germany what's happened. I think
Yeah.
the background, maybe some backgrounds a little similar. So that make us, some work looks like similar. But I think when I doing the work, I'm more focused about the two words, like Chinese traditional, the memory, and what I living right now. And like a skill and more adapt from the more traditional, like so like I started before, like Renaissance, like Italian, so all even before, like a Middle Age time. So that's I think maybe it's different. But like his work, his work is amazing.
It's a really good analogy to it. I appreciate your acknowledgement of Neo Rauch's background in Germany in relationship to the memory and the representational kind of dreamland and work, and figurative work within a setting. It makes a lot of sense. And a lot of some of his paintings, and I think some of your paintings too, have this overall like a monochromatic feel, even though you're playful with your colors. Don't get me wrong with some of the heavy reds or the heavy browns or the heavy blues, towards those paintings. I could definitely see that. It's a great question, both questions. We are at time already. This is fun. It went by super fast. I'm so pleased to hear more of your stories and get to know your work a lot better. Thank you so much, Furong.
Thank you, Carrie. So I'm
Yeah,
happy to be
absolutely.
here. So thank you, anyway. So
Yeah, and thank you for everyone that joined. If you missed anything, we record every one of these and I put it up on our YouTube page. I want to have really great Wi-Fi. So it is New Year, and we're really glad to be in 2021 here at Artfare. We're going to keep our Thursday programming coming, so please continue hanging out and check out Furong's page on Artfare. He's got some really great work, the smaller works and some nice prices, Furong. We were like, hey, this is manageable for the work and time that you put into your work. I'm really excited to hopefully get those out in the open
thank you, anyway.
and in front of people's eyes. Well, thank you, everyone. Hopefully see you next week, and take care of yourselves.
Okay, bye.
Bye.